Welcome back or welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. Look, today is a video about an attempted action taken on the past POTUS's life. You're going to see me using some specific words and avoiding others because we are in a difficult time right now. And I do see more scrubbing of the videos and more attention. So I'm going to be using some code words. Sorry if it bugs you, but this is what I need to do to be able to be public right now. If you're new here, I'm channeling this. I'm 40% Susan, 60% spirit guides. However, right now, I'm going to turn the Susan up a little bit because I want to talk about facts. I want to talk about reporting, and I want to talk about my impressions of the reporting. And I want to also say that everything that I'm saying is for entertainment purposes only. And I also want to say that these are conjectures, right? There are no facts here. This is what's been reported. These are my opinions about what's being reported. I'm also going to let Spirit have the microphone and let them speak to you as well. But I want to start out by just saying it's going to be okay. It really is. I am not kidding you guys. I understand. I am a very sensitive person. And when things like this happen, it knocks me completely off my center. It makes it hard for me to think about my everyday actions that I need to do. It basically puts you into that thing they call doom scrolling when you're looking for more evidence that, well, our world has gone to hell in a handbasket, right? And also, we want to be told everything is okay or figure out why it's not okay. So we turn to various news media to ascertain that, right? Okay. Now, I'll tell you guys, Twitter/X is really honestly like the dark web. You go there because you're going to find the truth, but you also go there because the truth is buried in a pile of caca. Okay, you've got to sort through it to figure out what is true, what is fake. And this is where we are right now, right? This is the same thing I would say about this video. If I say jump off a bridge, for the love of God, don't jump off a bridge. I am not the oracle. I am not God. I'm not always going to be right. Please learn to be discerning with things that I say, with things that other psychics say, and certainly with what the media says. And also learn to be discerning in your own mind, because we put two and two together and then we think that's it. It's over. 45 is going to win. It's done. We're done for. And I'm doing this video early Sunday morning to tell you that is not true. That is your trauma response to trauma, which is very real. And you should pay attention to it to the degree that you should remind yourself that this is me responding to trauma. I don't have all the information yet. I don't have all the facts yet. We don't know how this is going to turn out yet. Let me take a break. Let me go ground my energy by sitting in the grass or hugging a tree or petting my pets, or let me do a hobby. Let me get that old hobby out. Let me get that puzzle and put it together. Let me distract myself, because honestly, you guys, worrying about this and doom scrolling is not going to solve the problem. Okay? Now, having said that, I'm going to bring some things to your attention because some of you know I'm a Virgo. And that means good things and bad things. But right now, I'm going to use my Virgo powers to help you understand that I have researched this 9 Ways to Sundays, and I have some questions. I did post 2 community posts, which I promptly deleted both of them immediately. And I said, the first post I said, it's fake. I still stand by that. The second post I said, okay, it's fake, but people died. I'm going to remove these posts out of respect. Now, so that is why I posted those things. That's why I removed them. But immediately I knew without a shadow of a doubt this was staged. I still believe that. Some psychics are saying otherwise. Again, you have to use your discernment. Okay. I'm sorry. It's not black and white. I wish this place was black and white. But as a matter of fact, it's a Pandora's box of gray, there of paradoxes of this can be true and this can be true, but they're opposites. So how can that be true? Like the guides are saying right now, we've all experienced rain when it was sunny. And we're like, wait, what is happening right now? Right? We've all probably experienced thunder and lightning in a snowstorm. Wait, what's happening right now? We have to be a little bit more flexible with our understanding of what can happen all at the same time. Okay. Now, having said that, I'm switching into analytical mode. I'm going to show you some pictures. I'm going to show you, I don't know what I'm going to show you yet, maybe videos. I'm not sure, but I'm going to back up what I'm saying and I'm going to give you food for thought. And then I'm going to talk to you about why it's going to be okay and also how this is all going to backfire on 45. It's going to backfire on him. And honestly, I think there could be another situation that happens that he's not quite so lucky with. And I don't exactly know what that is. And even if I did know, I probably wouldn't tell you because I don't want to knock on my door from people in suits. Okay. So I got to be careful. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to put Susan first. I'm not going to put myself out there in such a way that would cause myself harm or to be unsafe, no matter what. Not doing this for the clicks. I'm not. I don't, I should get hazard pay for this, but I'm doing this because I want to help people. Okay. That's why I'm doing this. So let's talk about the first thing. I wrote a list because I wanted to stay on track. The first thing was when I was doing a live video last week with Kevin, Loving's Vibrations, I talked about Brutus. I talked about Caesar and Brutus. Well, here we go, you guys. The kid that did this thing, they already know his name. They know everything about him. It's already been I mean, this stuff is on Twitter before it's on CNN. And that's just the thing because they are sleuths. They will research and research. Again, you have to be careful that you're not reading fake things, but I've sourced it 9 ways to Sunday and the FBI. Other people have substantiated this. This was a white kid. And he voted in the last Republican election. Now, there's going to be all kinds of, disinformation around this because this kid, when he was 15 or something, gave $15 to the DNC, to the Democratic National Committee. Okay, so when he was a kid, he gave some money to the DNC. They've already unearthed his graduation pictures, him walking across the stage. I'm telling you, they've really done a deep dive on this kid, but he has no social media. So that's very odd for a kid who's 20 years old to not have any social media that anybody can find at the moment. Anyway, this is a developing story. Believe me, before this is over, certain sectors of the internet will know his shoe size and his favorite drink. I mean, literally his favorite bubblegum flavor. I mean, literally, they'll know everything about him. Is registered as a Republican. Also, he was wearing a t-shirt from a YouTuber, actually, but also some kind of content creator. I don't know what all they do, but it's called Demolition Ranch. You can see the t-shirt patch on the side of his shirt when he is prone after having been taken out. And Demolition Ranch, the Facebook page for that company, actually posted a picture of that very scene with WTH as the headline. So they're not saying it wasn't one of his. So these pieces are all starting to look very interesting. Now, the other thing is that, look, I was a photographer for 22 years, and some small part of that, I was a photojournalist. And I know what it's like to be caught up in the adrenaline. And I did things that actually got me dressed down by the chief of police. Let's just say that, because if you know me, I'm spicy and I wanted the shot. The editor said, you got to get the shot. I wanted that photo and I did whatever I needed to do to get the photo, which actually put me in harm's way. And in that way, that put Leo in harm's way, right? So I had this, I mean, and this is funny, but not funny. I had this super overweight chief of police chasing me through the woods. So when he caught up to me, he was none too happy because I thought he was going to have a heart attack. But it put him and he told me, he said, "You put my life at risk. You put other first responders' life at risk over a photograph," right? So that's when I like had this, my own come to Jesus moment when I was like, whoa, that was stupid, Susan. But you get caught up in the adrenaline. So one of the things that people are saying online is, why did the photographers move to the stage? Well, because you want the shot. That is what you live for. You live to get that Pulitzer Prize photo. You live to get your photo on the main page or whatever. That's what you live for. And if you're in news, you're a news junkie. I never knew that until I worked in news, but this was back in the time of newspapers. um, the reporters would literally stay up and watch their article roll through the presses. I mean, it really is a different world. So anyway, I don't fault the photographers for rushing to the stage. I would have done the same thing. But there are so many other inconsistencies. For instance, look, 45 is being covered by the Secret Service, but instead he pops up and stands fully exposed, his chest fully exposed, his head fully exposed, pumping his fist. And the Secret Service members are ducked down beneath his chest. And the Secret Service member in the front is a petite woman, and she's ducked down. Their training is to cover the asset, is to use your body as a cover for the asset. None of that went down in those photos. None of that went down in those photos. I'm going to show you a video of 45 being escorted off a stage when they thought there was a threat, not projectiles being fired in this video, yet they hustled him off the stage. None of this makes any sense, you guys. It does not add up. Secret Service would never act like that. Never, ever, ever. In my opinion, it's staged. The whole thing is staged. I will get to spirit in just a second. I will also say physicians are saying, now look, do I know the physicians? Have I seen their medical license? No. Again, be discerning. However, add 2 plus 2. If it looks like 4, it might be 4. Physicians are saying these bullets, because we know this, because guess what? How many, unfortunately, people and children have been SHOT. We know what those types of bullets do to people, to skin. And they're saying those bullets don't graze you. Grazing is out of the dictionary. If that bullet passes by your skin, it's going to take a chunk out of your skin. If you're a physician, you're an ER doc, and you have experience in this, please let us know in the comments. We've seen pictures of his ear. It's barely bloody, and it's at the top of his ear. Okay? Number 2, the other theory is the teleprompter broke and a shard of glass hit his ear. Well, I guess theoretically, there's some kind of odds. Maybe Vegas wants to call in and give us odds on this, but if a glass broke, if that glass broke, there'd be shards everywhere. There would be shards in his clothes, in his hair, probably on his face. The odds of one little shard just kind of like separating from the pack and going, I'm going to do my own thing. See y'all later. And hitting his ear. It's kind of improbable. Don't you think that's improbable? Number 2, there's no reports of a broken teleprompter. Okay, just throwing that out there. All right, we're just going through, the facts. We're going through Eyewitness, and there's a lot of eyewitness video. There's a lot of eyewitness testimony. At this point, I hate to say this, but I don't even trust them, because the spirit guides continually tell me 2 words, which are crisis actors. Maybe they're real, maybe they're not. I think we need to hold out for more information. I'm simply going through the things that the spirit guides told me. These things don't make sense, Susan. Pay attention to these things. Something that the spirit guides pointed out to me that has unnerved me a little bit, which is surprising because the whole thing is freaking unnerving to a, level 10 out of 10. But anyway, there are people that took pictures of the gunman on the roof. Literally, I've seen pictures of the gunman laying on the roof alive with the gun. How did they get that picture? It wasn't a high roof. That's true. Pennsylvania has, they have hills. I don't know. Just odd. But anyway, the thing that unnerved me was there's pictures of the unalived person with the GUM and four Leos, law enforcement officers, or whatever you want to call them. Two of them looked like they were Army or National Guard or some kind of people that would be wearing a uniform with a very elaborate helmet with wires coming off the back with very thick protection, bulletproof vest with rifles, the whole 9 yards. There were two of those, and there were two that looked like police officers. Okay. I'm going to show you because there's something wrong with this picture. Literally. When you look at this picture, you're going to notice that army guy, that military guy, has no insignia, nothing, no rank, no nothing. There's Velcro where there could be something, but there's nothing. There's no insignia anywhere on this man that I can see in this photo. I don't know what regulation is, but I'm pretty sure it's more than what he's doing. Number two, I'm not trying to say that you got to be physically fit to be in the military or to be in the National Guard, but I am saying that guy is not physically fit. When you blow it up, you can see his belly hanging over his waistline. Okay. Number two, there's two of those dudes. I can't see the other one, but okay. I mean, he's there, but you can't see clearly what his rank or insignia or who he is, right? Who are these guys? Literally, we need to know who they are. What branch? What part of the government do they belong to? The other two guys look like police officers, but something's off with them too. Maybe they are police officers. I don't know. It just seems like the patch for the police officers all the way down here by the elbow and not up here. It just something is not right. That's all I can tell you is that if these people are really legit, then something's not right with their regulations and adherence to regulations. And you would think that if you're at an event where an ex POTUS is giving and a current, candidate is giving a speech, that everybody would be on point, that the Secret Service people would be on point. They would shield that person. They would make sure that person is safe. You would think that the first people that got to the roof where the guy is, DOA would be on point. Okay. Now, another thing that's really alarming to me is that any crime scene, well, it's supposed to be secured because chain of custody of evidence. Now, I know he's unalived and we're not going to have a court. However, I'm pretty sure that the government and even the state and maybe the city would like to investigate what happened there. And we've all seen crime scenes where they have the little flags and say, here's a bullet, or, a chalk outline, something. This guy attempted the life of a candidate for the POTUS. That's pretty serious. I think that would require tape, crime scene tape. I think that would require maybe even people, Leos, situated around the building to make sure nobody tampered with anything. I would think that this would require a pretty stout, regulated, well observed, and rule following investigation. Instead, we got four people up there that nobody can identify. Maybe somebody can identify those two cops. I don't know. But Mr. Army Man times two with no insignia, that's a problem. Something's going on there. And I'm just going to say I'm getting the word cover up. Okay? Am I crazy? Maybe so, you guys. Maybe I am. Am I spouting conspiracy theories? Maybe I am. Mock the video, go ahead, but just be respectful, because if you're not, I'm going to block you. I'm just telling you, there's some food for thought here. And if you think that I'm seeing this and you think the other side, are not seeing this, you're wrong, because they're questioning the same thing I'm questioning. Now, they may be coming to a different conclusion than I am. Their conclusion might be that it was, a false flag because of, the president or the FBI or whatever. But I'm here to tell you, there's enough people with enough brain cells still firing and answering that are going to say this stinks. I don't believe this guy stood up when shots were fired and raised his fist. I don't believe that. Now, you might also say, or someone might say to you, oh, he knew the threat was gone. He knew the threat was gone. And his Secret Service people have, walkie-talkies in their ear. No, that is not true. That there is a threat. We don't know. I mean, if somebody had the cojones to get on a roof, somehow get a rifle through a secure perimeter, climb on a roof, and take some shots, and you don't think there's more potential for other threats? If you didn't know, you would absolutely be terrified, not only for your own life, but the life of the person you're sworn to protect. And you wouldn't be hugging his waist. You would knock that big man off his feet, and you would drag him off of the stage. Now, there's also audio, because, well, there was a microphone right there, where he's telling them, wait, wait, wait. I need my shoes. Was he standing without his shoes? Did he fall out of his risers? Did he fall out of his high heels? I don't know. But he's actually telling them, wait, wait, I need my shoes before I exit the stage. You guys, come on. If you are afraid for your life, you don't care about no shoes. I'll tell you that right now. You don't care about nothing. Humans have a very finely developed fight or flight thing. And he said, fight. I'm going to stay and fight. He's unarmed. Also, the guides are reminding me, the Secret Service didn't pull their weapons. Not one of them. I mean, sure, maybe three of them would just be like protecting, the asset. But I think the other three would put their back to the asset and have a gun pointing out. Because I think a bullet can go through 3 or 4 people. So you kind of want to be in a position to protect, right? None of this makes any sense. That's what I'm saying to you guys. None of it makes any sense, especially the roof. The roof has the guys on the roof have got me flummoxed. Really flummoxed. That's a crime scene. Yet there was no investigators, there was no crime scene. That's very strange. So since I'm neck deep in conspiracy theories, let's talk about this young man that did this. Now, the spirit guides are telling me that because I saw enough of him to get in his energy. Literally, his graduation video is online. I mean, it's kind of scary, but it's the world we live in right now. And you can get in his energy and you can see that, and you can even there's somehow they found a younger picture of him, and you can see that this kid is a vulnerable kid. Maybe he was on the spectrum, or maybe he had something that made him vulnerable, whether that was a um it's not that he had a mental illness. It's I don't know how to describe what they're telling me. They just keep saying he was vulnerable. Some people are more vulnerable to cults, to disinformation than others. You're just naturally more vulnerable to that. And I think there's some astrological situations there. I also think there's just some, this is who you are. This is your personality set point. But I also think those two things lend themselves to the third thing, which means you march to the beat of a different drummer. Your energy is slightly different than everybody else's. And guess what happens then? You're bullied. You are a target. So you add those two things to the bullying. Now you've got a recipe for someone who is very vulnerable and someone who gets that mindset that I'm going to have my retribution. All those people that made fun of me, all those people that mocked me, they won't now because I'm going to get my retribution. Right. Also, this kid, and the guides talked about this a lot in the past, but I think we're going to be talking about it more now, is this term radicalization. Okay, so the spirit guides were talking about, and I don't want to curse us. It is summer, so there's no school no schools are not in session right now, but we haven't had a big school, problem like that in a little while. And that is all due to Biden and the ATF and FBI, because I've told you guys he's really the intelligence president. He really empowers these people, which is a whole nother reason why none of this over here makes any sense. What happened yesterday? So radicalization is when you take someone who's vulnerable to a cult. And they're reminding me that guy that wrote the book, Moody, I don't remember his name. He wrote a book, and it's a great book because he says, I was not ever one of these kids. I wasn't bullied. There was no reason for me to fall into a cult. However, I got broken up with my girlfriend. I was sitting at the library by myself, looking dejected and depressed. And these two young, attractive women came up and sat down next to me and started talking to me and befriending me and really made me feel better about myself. But they were actually in I think, the Moonies cult. And that's how they radicalized him, was because he was at a point where he was adrift. He was disassociating from his identity, from his tribe, his culture, his family, and they literally created a bubble around him and excised him out of his family. He dropped out of college. He actually rose in the ranks to an administration level. Okay. So this is what they're talking about with this kid, Matthew. He was radicalized. And the guides have said this many times, that when you're playing a video game, you're mic'd up, you got a microphone on and you're talking to other players that could be anywhere in the world. And on one hand, that's really cool and that's really fun. And I love that. On the other hand, it makes it very easy for other countries that want to destabilize us to radicalize people and start saying, I was bullied. Oh, I was too. Oh, my parents don't understand me either. Okay. Now, again, that's radicalization. That is somebody saying everything you want to hear, confirmation bias. That's why I tell you guys, don't believe everything I say. I don't want you to have confirmation bias. I want you to say, Susan was right about this stuff, but I'm not sure that she's right about those things. Or I believe this, but I question that. That's what we really need. That's healthy. But when we go all in on anything, we're likely going to be taken advantage of. We have to keep our own brain involved in whatever our decision is. And we have to double check things with ourselves, with people you really trust. Okay. So this kid was radicalized. You can see it. You can even see his body shape change, right? Like when he's on the roof, he's very thin. He seems like a tall guy, and he's pretty thin. Now, that could be a lot of things. That could be mental illness sometimes can change your eating habits. But also so can being radicalized and getting into this militaristic idea. I don't want to be a dough. I mean, he wasn't a doughboy, but I would say that he was not thin. He was kind of a big guy, basically. Not a fat guy, but a big guy. But now he's a thin guy, right? Like, and he's wearing, some sort of camo looking stuff. He's definitely bought into this idea of what's going on, of paramilitary, whatever. Okay, those are some things I can just tell. I mean, there's many, many more things I cannot. This video is already 30 minutes long. I'm gonna get it over with very soon. So here's the thing. Let's switch over to channeling more. Let's give the guides more of the microphone. And I don't think we're gonna like what they have to say. I'm gonna drink some coffee because it's gonna ground me, because drinking or eating grounds you. Okay, here's the message. Well, we're learning our lesson. Humans are learning their lesson. The lesson is about discernment. It is the same thing that I was just talking about. The lesson is about discernment, about how we have to act from our hearts. And that also means voting. I mean, we have to act from our consciousness, our compassion, our consciousness, not from anger, not from retribution. Okay. And I will say this because they gave me this message earlier and they told me to tell you this message. So um, I want you guys to see it like this. Vibrationally, there's a vibrational wave coming. You can call it karma. It doesn't matter. This vibrational wave is coming to it's it's anger. It's the vibration of anger. It's the vibration of injustice. And the vibration is to balance the injustice. Sounds a lot like karma to me. And but here's the thing that's going to trip you up if you're not careful. Seriously. If I'm in the vibration of anger and loss of hope and just this deep-seated anger and vigilance and, just terrible defeatism, I'm matching that wave. So not only are the MAGAs matching it, but I'm going to match it. It doesn't matter. The wave is not coming for MAGAs. The wave is coming for people who are disconnected from their heart. Okay? Now that doesn't mean that we just need to be doormats. That is something I really struggled with in my own transformation from being a warrior energy, coming onto this planet as a warrior energy, and then switching more into a healer energy. So the first thing I did was became a doormat, because I didn't understand that healers are not doormats and that healers can be warriors. Archangel Michael is a warrior. Jesus flipped the tables, at the temple. I mean, Jesus had a temper. We're not saying that compassion means become a doormat. Not at all. We are saying that be resolute in your feelings of compassion for yourself, compassion for humanity. But you are not, and I am not, and humans are not in this situation. We are not the judge, jury, and executioner. And if we put ourselves in that place of judgment, we are going to end up in that same pool, that same energetic swamp with the magus. It's not going to help us. So what spirit is saying is that yeah, we know what's true to be true. We believe that humans are priceless and worth more than money. And we believe that all races should be treated equally. And we believe that women should have rights. And we believe that we should have equal voting. We believe all these things. And that doesn't, what I'm saying doesn't discount that at all. And it doesn't discount us potentially protesting and writing and saying, this is wrong. This is wrong. We're not saying you are wrong. We're not saying you are a horrible person. We're saying your actions are wrong. We're saying we don't agree with you and we want a different place. And we're going to work really, really hard to fight for that place. But we want to really be careful about sliding into that judgment, that black and white judgment and anger swamp, because there's going to come a time when we all have to work together. End of story. And I'm not saying that I'm ever going to be able to work with somebody who's racist. I'm just not going to be able to do that. However, I am going to be able to work with somebody who was racist, who sees maybe they were wrong. In the same way that I can say, I see where I was wrong. In this way, I can open my heart and I can say, I'm welcome to anybody who's a vibrational match. If you're not a vibrational match, you're not going to be in my vibration. Think about it. If pain and agony and worry and trauma is not, if you choose for that, you choose for that to not be in your vibrational energy field, it won't be. It's kind of that simple. We let go of the doom strolling. We let go of the trauma response, the clickbait trauma. We let go of that. And instead, you imagine your vibrational field. If you want to think about it like this, you can imagine it to be your own. We talked about aura in my, please watch the Wisdom on Wednesday videos. If you want to survive this and not be on medication for depression or, potentially checked out of your life, watch these free videos that I put out on Wednesday, Wisdom on Wednesday. They're all spirit guides had me do these because this is helping you deal with this crazy, and I mean it is crazy and it is dark and it is traumatizing energy. But imagine you've got a little yard around your body. What's in your yard? Decorate it. Expel anything that you don't want in your yard. Would you, if I went over to your yard and I put some stinky, nasty thing in your yard, even if it was me, you'd be like, I don't care who Susan Lynn is. I'm getting rid of this thing. Who does she think she is putting this in my yard? I don't want it in my yard. It smells bad. This is what spirit guides are asking you to do, to take personal responsibility for your own energy. What's in your yard? If it's not beautiful, if it's not calming, if it's not restorative, funny, joyful, passionate, relaxing, peaceful, you have, and you're really the one, you have the power to push it out of your yard. And how do you do that is you get rid of the app. You stop watching politics, or you only watch certain people on politics. You stop scrolling. You stop meeting with that person who's in the trauma response so deeply that all they want to do is talk about how bad everything is and how we're all going to hell in a handbasket and how this is the end of the world. You are responsible for your own yard. Pay attention to it, decorate it, check in with it, and enjoy it. Now, last thing I'll say is that this is going to backfire on 45. That's what my spirit guide said. This is going to backfire on him. It is not going to win him the election. It is not. I don't care what you're seeing out there. I don't care if this is what I get. So add my opinion to their opinions. You decide which you want to believe. It's not going to work. Because again, the guide said earlier, the people on the right are going, what is wrong with Secret Service? And why is that guy on the roof without any insignia? They're not dummies. A lot of these people were in the army, were in the military. They're not dummies. And if they're really so far gone that they say, yeah, this was Biden or whatever, then they're too far gone. They're in their own confirmation bias echo chamber, and they're too far gone. But this has shaken up a lot of the right. And it also came out, this happened right around the time when the spirit guides told you that this new information was going to be coming out. It's not new, but it's coming out newly. It's re-emerging is what they want to say around the SA with the young girl and 45 that happened 20 years ago or whatever. But it's coming back out. And I'm telling you guys, this is a train, this wave of energy, and nothing is going to stop it. Nothing. Because it's here to balance us again. Okay, so we've talked a lot, but I've got a lot of new viewers. The earth has a certain vibrational set point. It vibrates. Look, Einstein, we all know this. Everything vibrates. I'm vibrating. This desk is vibrating. You're vibrating. Everything vibrates. Everything has a vibrational set point. Within that vibrational set point is a tolerance. How far can something get out of tolerance before game over? In human bodies, the spirit guides are saying, you might say, well, if a human body gets too cold, that's out of tolerance. Bye-bye, physical form. If it gets too hot, it's out of tolerance. Bye-bye, physical form. So even the human body has a tolerance. Plants have a tolerance. They can go so long without water, so long without sun. Everything has a tolerance. How much can they tolerate? So the planet has a tolerance. And we are too far out of balance. Okay, we've talked about this a lot. And yeah, we're always going to be out of balance because this isn't nirvana. I often tell you guys, check your ticket. Check your incarnation ticket. If you thought you were going to nirvana, you got off at the wrong stop. This is planet Earth. This is a school. It's meant to be hard. It's meant to be challenging. It's meant to grow our soul. I've done videos on this. Souls and other existences don't have our free will. They have guardrails. They can't get into as much trouble as we can. Their soul is never going to grow because it's not challenged. We grow when we're challenged. The more you drive on ice, the better you are. The more you pilot your sailboat in rough seas, the better sailor you are. The more trauma you see as an ER doc, the better prepared you are for that. Okay? Humans on Earth, well, our soul is challenged out the yin yang. So when we leave our physical body, our soul, our energy is bigger than a soul that lives in a place that is incarnating or existing in a place that doesn't have the same kind of choices. Okay. So for that reason, Our little scales, like the scales of justice, did you ever think that the scales of justice are never fixed? They're always a little out of alignment, meaning sometimes the good guys get the justice and sometimes the bad guys get off. Did you ever think about that? It's not meant to be stable. I mean, I think it sucks. But anyway, it's not meant to be stable. The planet is not meant to be stable. It's meant to be constantly in a state of flux, constantly in a state of challenge. Now, sometimes, you have good weather. Sometimes you're floating on the energy and you're enjoying yourself. And then other times you're in white water, white caps. You know, sometimes you're flying through air that has no turbulence. And then other times you're gripping the bag. It's life, folks. It's life. However, our tolerance is intolerable. They've often said that when our vibration, the Earth's vibration, gets too out of whack, too wobbly, and they always use that car, when you get a flat tire and you don't got the sense or whatever to pull over and you ride your flat tire and it's like hump, hump, hump. You know that feeling. You've done it. We've all done it once until we get to the repair place and they're like, you just rode on your rim 5 miles. Like, yeah, what's your point? It was hot outside. I wasn't going to get out and change it. But that's Earth. Earth is sending out an SOS vibration. Our tolerance is intolerable, not only because 45, but because of the climate change, because of humans. Humans are pretty angry. Our vibration is too low across the board. Again, we're supposed to have good and bad, good and bad, good and bad, constantly rebalancing. But our balancer got stuck and we're like, we're not doing well. So that sends out a vibrational SOS to spirit. Spirit might also be to you, God, or it might be a computer in the sky, or it might be a legion of angels, or it might be some pretty scaly looking ETs. I don't know. This is an area outside of my expertise. Well, actually it's not, but I don't know. It's you choose your own adventure. That's what it is. Maybe it's Buddha. I don't know. Anyway, a flock of Buddhas are now flying in because Earth is playing its music too loud and all the other planets are complaining. Earth is breaking down, having some kind of cataclysmic party. And the rest of us are arranging the chairs on the Titanic. But Spirit is like, oh, heck no. We're going to have to let's go to Earth. They done messing up again like they did in Atlantis. They trying to mess this whole thing up. And it's Sunday and I got to have my time off. Let's get down there and work on this. That's the wave I see coming. It's going to rebalance us, or at least put us within the tolerance of balance. You guys, it's indiscriminate. It doesn't care if you got a D or an R or if you're anything. It cares about your vibration. If your vibration is whacked, it's going to whack you. So we don't want that. We don't want that on top of everything else. We don't want that. So luckily, you're listening to this message and you're watching to the end of this video. Fix your vibrational yard. Turn off the news. It doesn't matter if this was a false flag. It doesn't matter if it was planned or staged. It doesn't matter because Spirit's coming in to rebalance us. And the balance is that humans don't want war. Okay, so as we go into 2025, the astrology is changing into Aquarius. Pluto's going into Aquarius, which is all about power to the people. And let me just tell you, people are some kind of mad about the ineffectualness of their governments. And we just came from Capricorn and Pluto, which was top-down management. right? I mean, the whole trickle down thing kind of sounds like Capricorn and Pluto to me. And yeah, we did that. We got the t-shirt, we got the scars to prove it. But in 2025, we're going to go into power to the people, and the people don't want this. They really don't. They're tired, they're exhausted, and they want to be respected. So what you can do is you can start embodying that energy now. Again, whatever your vibration is, that's what you're going to get. So if your vibration is despondency, defeatism, trauma, anger, and worry, you're going to get a big heaping dose of that. And then as this wave comes through, it's going to get worse because I've talked about how, and I don't understand this, and I have made complaints, frankly, but they don't listen to me. I don't know why. They send me here and they don't answer my phone calls sometimes. But anyway, how they teach us lessons is they give us more and more and more and more of what we don't want instead of, like, the carrot and the stick, you know, or the donut and the cheese, or the donut, the donut and the stick for me. They just keep giving me the stick. I'm like, why y'all giving me all these bad things, right? Well, it's because they want us to release and give up and say, I'm giving it up to a higher power. I can't figure this out. All this worrying that I'm doing is not going to solve anything. It's not going to help me. It's not going to help them. It's actually adding more energy to the out of balance energy. And I'm part of the problem now. And that's why the wave is going to see you as a problem. Okay. So you can educate yourself for sure. You can work hard for democracy for sure. You can even fight for democracy for sure. But every fighter, every professional, everybody who ever gets anything done takes breaks. They take care of their body, they take care of themselves. Professional athletes don't work out 24/7. They really pay attention to their body. Treat this like a job. Take good care of yourself. Yes, fight, but don't become despondent. Don't become so jaded that you don't have any compassion, that you have lost sight of hope, because there's a lot of hope. This is all going to backfire on 45, and it's going to backfire on the Republican Party, and it's going to backfire on the countries, potentially, allegedly, that are involved in this. Countries that had planes parked to 45's plane, countries, leaders of countries that visited 45 recently at Mar-a-Lago. Going to backfire on all of them. It's not going to happen overnight, you guys, because this is heavily charged international incidents, as well as a highly charged incident in the United States regarding a candidate for our POTUS. The last thing I'll leave you with besides that is Biden knows, because if you go back and you watch his very succinct and very well worded and presidential comment and briefing about what happened to 45, at the very end of that briefing, he's starting to walk away from the podium, and somebody asked him a question about the kid, the Matthew guy or something. And Biden says, I have my thoughts about what's going on or who's behind this. He says something like that. I have my thoughts about this, but I don't have any facts yet. So I'm not going to comment. You guys, if this was a lone wolf, if this was just some radicalized kid out of a small community that just decided to do this on his own, Biden never would have said that. He wouldn't have any thoughts. He would say, I feel bad for this kid. Mental illness is a real problem. My prayers go out to the community. That's what he would have said. But instead, he said something like, I have my own thoughts about this, but I don't have facts yet. So Biden's already saying, I know what's up. I know what's up here. but it's going to take us a while to untangle it. In the meantime, the most important thing is to keep you safe, is to protect your own mental health and your physical health, and send out beautiful energy into your environment, into your little spiritual vibrational yard. Because then you're a little beacon of hope and light. And if we have a lot of those beacons of hope and light popping up around the world, there's going to be a lot more hope and light in the world. And when you charge up your batteries, by taking care of yourself, we've talked about all the ways to do that. When you charge up your batteries, when you pray, when you have, gosh, I hope everything turns out okay. Please let everything turn out okay. Please protect those that are suffering. Please have the light guide those who are misguided. When you pray like that, your prayers, your thoughts shoot out of your body like a rocket. And they're going to help more people. When you pray instead, God, I don't know if this is going to be okay. I'm just so tired and I'm disgusted and this is ridiculous and I'm so sick of this life and I just hope everything's okay. That energy didn't go anywhere. As a matter of fact, it sunk into your body in a kind of a dark color. I get it. I've been there. I'm not saying that we're always love and light, because we're not. And that's not healthy either. I'm saying give yourself a moment to be despondent. Give yourself a moment to be sad and angry and pissed off. Absolutely. Do it. Get it out of your system. Punch a pillow. Get it out of your system. Then pivot. Pick yourself up. Dust yourself off. Whew, I'm mad. Whew, I'm mad. Whew, I am mad, 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 mad. Okay, fine. Now, I'm going to take this energy and I'm going to go reorganize that closet. I'm going to take this energy and I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to take this energy and I'm going to dance to a song that really makes me happy. I'm going to take this energy and I'm going to exercise. Or I'm going to just release this energy. Whoo, I'm going to push it out. I'm pushing it out of my yard. I don't want it in my yard. The spirit guides talk about humans' lives should be like playing a piano, playing a song. You don't have low notes all the time in a song. You also don't have high notes all the time in a song. You have every note, and that creates a beautiful song, a complicated song, a song that our ear wants to listen to because it's so intriguing. Yeah, there's low notes. Yeah, there's high notes. Woo, that's a high note. But we need all of it. We don't want to get stuck in the low. We don't want to get stuck in the middle. We want to get stuck in the high. We want to be able to relax and let us experience a lot of those notes. Okay? Let me know in the comments what you think about this. My heart goes out to you. We're going to be okay. I've seen the way this movie ends. We're going to be okay. It's a shite show getting there. I'm not going to lie. The roller coaster is not my thing. And I'm sure we're going to see worse before we get there. Forewarned is forearmed. But now you know how to deal with it. Get upset, get mad, and then move on. Every time, I think this is really good. They're showing me, somebody on social media said, every time I get mad, I send $5 to a candidate. Every time you get mad, write a postcard to a candidate saying, I support you. Right? Put it into action. Every time you get mad, Go out and volunteer 2 hours to help somebody who really needs it. Because volunteering, helping pets, helping animals, helping people, helping the environment will heal you, will fix your own vibrational discordance. Okay? Take really, really good care. I'll be back. Terminator style, whatever that was. I don't know. Anyway, take really good care, everybody. For entertainment purposes only.